there's some exciting things that have recently surfaced. Let's talk about what it was like to be on Below Deck. First, I have to ask you, were you a fan of the show?
So I honestly had never even heard of the show. But I have a relationship with Cam 4, and it was like basically all Cam 4 models. So they asked me, I've done like shows and stuff like that for Cam 4, and they asked me if I wanted to go to Australia for a show. I was like, okay, cool. So in order to do this, I had to cancel my browser scene. I had to cancel my Chicago Exotica trip, and then I had to drive from LA to San Diego to go get like a rush passport, expedited passport.
Oh no,
because my passport like expired within 60 days or something. So yeah, so it was a lot of fun. It was a lot to get there. But after I got there, it was a lot of fun. So.
Was it your first trip to Australia?
It was. And that was like one of my bucket lists also, just to like, plus we were in like the Great Barrier Reef.
Oh, so
like
beautiful.
It was so pretty.
I mean, what a first trip to Australia to get to see the reef. And from California, it's an easy 16-hour flight, so it's not really that bad.
18 hours or something.
Okay.
Because I did LA to Sydney, and then Sydney to Cairns. And then on the way home, I did Cairns to Brisbane, and then Brisbane to LA. Do you like how I pronounced it correctly?
You did. Brisbane. Brisbane.
And then Cairns. It's weird, though, because it's spelled Kairns, but it's Cairns. So, like, we're just going to, like, completely omit 2 letters,
For Below Deck, so did you pre-watch any episodes, or was this so last minute that you couldn't even go down the rabbit hole?
Well, I got told, like, 2 weeks in advance.
Okay.
So I was told it was Below Deck Down Under. So I was like, oh, I'll just watch like the first season. So I was like watching it, and I like fell in love with some characters, and then I like hated some characters. And I'm like so happy that like the people returning was like the captain and Aisha and the party guy.
So you had a little bit of time to kind of survey Below Deck Down Under and decide maybe who you wanted to be on the show.
Yeah, I mean, I was just going to be myself. I actually asked them. I was like, hey, what am I not allowed to do on the show? They're like, oh, just be your authentic self. I was like, that's a thin line right there. So I actually, like, I got in trouble for something that they didn't show on the show. So I get yelled at by the producers for doing something twice.
How can you get in trouble on Below Deck, Jessie Lee? Only you could do this. Please give us the details. Because we're not going to be able to see it when we watch the
I'm
episodes.
not going to say who, but one of the people, when we're on that island, and so we're on the island or whatever, and we're like having our picnic and stuff, where I was like, where I was collecting shells like topless, and Laura and Sky were like, doing something in the water, topless. So one of the people was like, hey, like I went to school for video and stuff like that. I can like film you guys. Like he was like, I can film you guys. I was like, really? I was like, you can film us like shooting content. He's like, absolutely. He was like, can you film me? And I had my Bad Dragons toy. I was like, are you allowed to film me playing with this on camera? He's like, yeah, absolutely. I was like, are you sure? He's like, yeah. I was like, are you sure? He's like, absolutely. I was like, all right, let's fucking do it. So I went off the island, like trying
hold on, for anyone who maybe might not know Bad Dragon, she had a sex toy. So she showed a sex toy. And with that said, there was approval from the person you asked, so you went along. Okay.
So I was like, okay, cool. I asked. I always ask. I'll never just assume. I always just ask. I guess I should just ask the producers, but it's fine. So we went off like a little away, and like he wasn't even like right up on me. He was kind of just like, I actually have to like release that on my OnlyFans. I haven't released it yet, but he was like maybe 30 feet away, and he was like filming me on my phone, and like it was just me, like I wasn't even like spread. I was like doing it from behind, so it was like doggy with this toy, and I was like licking it and stuff like that, and I was like moaning, and then like everyone else was like kind of watching me from afar, because it was like we went behind these big rocks, but they like got around those, and they're like, and then I get in trouble, and they're like, Jessie, you cannot ask one of the crew members to film me. I was like, I asked. They're like, yeah, but you made him feel uncomfortable. I was like, all right, whatever.
Kind of volunteered. This film member kind of volunteered, if you ask me.
So then like I had to go on camera and be like, I'm so sorry. Like, I'm so sorry I did that, So like, I didn't mean to make you feel uncomfortable. Like, it's cool. But like, I'm like friends with them now. So like, I'm sure if I asked him to do that now, he'd be like, yeah, absolutely, and get all like close and stuff, I'm sure.
So that's number one. This is number one, a bit of trouble that you got into while filming Below Deck Down Under. What did you do the second time?
So we were told that we're not allowed to give them gifts.
Okay.
So I had a bunch of these little magnets that were like me topless with like a banner over my nipples that say food porn. It's me like licking a donut. And I like gave it to every single crew member, like personally. So they're like, Jessie, you're not supposed to give gifts. You have to give it to us at the end and we'll give it to them at the end. I was like, whatever. It's fine.
It's a very strange rule.
So that's what I got in trouble for.
But you still were this shining star of the episodes.
I know. One thing that they didn't show, I can't even talk about it. Never mind, I can't talk about it.
This is when someone says.
I'll tell you after. I'll tell
tell
you
us
after.
now.
So I'm not going to tell you who, but so there's a part that they actually showed on the show with me like coming in my little leopard outfit, and they're like, Jessie, and then I like have like the butt plug like with it was like vibrating with like the tail. So the chef Zarina, she like felt it. She's like, oh, it vibrates. Like, yeah. And then someone that was also in that room took the butt plug that was vibrating and put it up to their face. I'm not gonna say who, but that's what happened. I was like, oh my god, they cut it. I was actually really like, when I saw that like start to show on the episode, I was like, oh my god, they're gonna show this, but they cut out like the best part.
Oh,
so.
But overall, it was a great experience for you.
It was so much fun. Yeah.
And did you get to see any other of Australia while we were there, or you just went and filmed and then flew back?
So this was last year May, when this happened. So like the whole everyone had like Australia is really, really strict on COVID.
Yep.
So we had to, in order to fly out of Australia, like if you're flying like within Australia, it's fine. But if you're flying like out of Australia, like to a different country, you have to get tested. It's like a 24-hour or 48-hour COVID test. So they brought 24 hours. So they brought like the doctors to the ship in Cairns. And Cairns is like this little like remote island, Great Barrier Reef. So it's like not really like near anything. So my test results for me and one other girl, Vanna, our test results didn't come back in time. So we got to Brisbane and we're stuck in Brisbane. Thankfully, my friend James also lives in Brisbane. So he took us to the koala sanctuary.
Oh, you got to go to Lone Pine.
I did.
It's one of my favorite sanctuaries in the world.
It was so great. Like I got to like pet kangaroos. I was like, this is
and
the
you can
greatest
feed
thing
them.
ever.
They give you those little bags of snacks, and then there's massive ones that are just like laying out. And then there's the little baby ones that come right up to you, and you can feed them and take selfies with them. They're so happy.
Yeah, they're like dogs. I was like, oh, I love
Did you get to hold a koala?
No, I think it was because it was near the end of the day, because we got there pretty late.
Okay.
So yeah, and then after that, my friend James like took us out like around Brisbane and just like took us to some fruit. Because last time he was in LA, I took him and his girlfriend to the Magic Castle.
Okay.
So yeah,
Fun spot.
Yeah.
I love Brisbane. It's a really cute and quaint, beautiful place. People are super nice, but that Lone Pine is like my favorite. Every time I've gone there, I've gone back and I take the same photo. They have that thing when you first enter that says Lone Pine Sanctuary, and you can put your head through it, your hands through it, your feet show out the bottom. It's for children, so you really have to bend down to do it. But I do it every time just to document how many times I'd been there. But I love it there. And it kind of worked out for you that you got to stay a day.
Yeah, and the network like paid for my hotel and stuff like that, because it was like, it was because of them, and I got reimbursed for the COVID test and stuff like that. So I was like, all right, I get a free day in friggin' Brisbane. Okay, cool.
How much do you think that's going to help you on the road feature dancing? Because it's another thing to add into your bio. It's another thing for the DJ to read when you go up on stage. I know when I was in the industry.
I need to add that into my bio now.
Yeah, you
I
sure
totally
do.
Forgot.
Yeah, I mean, I remember every single thing I did that I thought had value, I would just go and update my bio. I was constantly updating, printing out new bios, because that's a big one. Below Deck is huge.
And I kind of want to nominate myself for like the crossover for like the mainstream crossover or whatever. But I don't know how to do that. Jonah like kind of told me. I was like, I don't know. I was like, Jonah, will you do it for me? She's like, no. She's like, have Sandra from OC do it. I was like, please, will you? She's like, no, just do this instead. I was like, okay, I guess I won't do it.
You have to get yourself in the running for that for sure.
Yeah.